Welcome. This is Sienna Lea, and I'm here with Laura Lee Mistycah. So, there's just a lot of information we're going to cover today. And again, I want to put this up with the caveat that I know when I first got introduced to actually the work with this incredible lady, that programs got triggered. And I had a lot of blocks, and I had a lot of doubt, and I would get knocked out, I'd fall asleep, I'd get a lot of disbelief, before I even let the thing unfold. Now, we're not saying that we want you to believe anything. Everybody needs to come to their own conclusions, do their own research, and find their own inner guidance. Some things are right for you now, some things are wrong. Sometimes you being blocked is a good thing. So that's all cool. But I'm just saying, if you can be aware, if that starts to happen, then you can choose whether you're going to go with that or whether you're going to keep at least allowing the information in a neutral fashion. And, maybe that's a crazy thing to say at the beginning of an episode, but from my experience, the people that are bringing the truth at a level that it hasn't been revealed before, they've been blocked, there's been lots of interference, the equipment goes bonkers, you know the drill. And this has been happening with us on steroids, which always makes me think, wow, this is the real deal here because they don't want this out. So just saying, if we could all be a little bit more vigilant. And the other thing is that this information is radical to everything we've ever been taught about the nature of the reality here. The tools that we have, even in the alternative movement, there are a lot of triggers. So we're going to set that aside. We're not going to let that shut down the information because it's really important to get this information to the people with eyes to see and ears to hear. The people that this is for it's totally time for you to get this information. So here we go. Laura Lee, how are you doing?
Same as always, raring to go, wondering where you've been.
Yeah. Well, I thought since it's an episode 1, Laura Lee, that we could hear about you and how you got to having experiences outside this hologram and how you got the superpowers and the supervision to see from a perspective that most people wouldn't even believe existed. So I don't think were you born this way?
Maybe, but I don't remember. If I was, I don't remember.
Well, I know in the Ghostbuster book, you talk about ghostbusting, and your first ghostbusting, because you didn't know you were a ghostbuster. Give us...
No, I didn't.
Give us a little, take us back to like when, what were you... I know you had clinics, and you've always been into healing, right?
Right.
So what were you doing before this world opened up? And then how did it open up? Just probably a brief overview at this stage, just so they can feel you and sense into your world and your development here.
Golly, that leaves me speechless. I'm not quite sure what to say.
Well, I really liked in the Ghostbuster book, you talked about your first thing, with Ghostbusters. Tell us about your clinic. What kind of clinic did you have?
Okay. I had a holistic health clinic, And even then, I was pretty out there with, that was back in the 80s, and nobody knew about reflexology. That was just like on the cutting edge. And so I was trained in reflexology, and then I started teaching classes at the community college. And then I learned muscle response testing. And so I could test my clients on vitamins and things for to see what was wrong. And then I kind of got into, I figured, you can just figure out more with muscle response testing than vitamins. And I started testing if something was true or false. And then I started doing counseling and testing them to see what their problems were, and if the problem that they thought was the real problem was really the real problem. And so...
Well, now you're a medical intuitive, and the body scans that you do are very comprehensive, and you have an in-depth X-ray vision into not just the physical body, but the other dimensions as well. So how did you get from there to here?
Okay, well, so I started developing it into medical intuitive kind of things, and develop my own system of narrowing it down and finding out, okay, how much of this is physical and how much of this is emotional, because that's really helps, because if you're doing all the emotional stuff and your body's, your adrenal glands are shot, that's, you got to get that fixed too. And then I started getting into other things. I'm trained in rapid eye therapy, which is a emotional release method. I was really into trying to figure out how the brain worked, or how the brain actually doesn't work. as it is for most of us, our brains aren't working so well. So I'm trained in rapid eye therapy, and that really helped a lot. That's doing rapid blinking to emotions, and you have to have a facilitator that's kind of been around the block a few times, because some people can kind of get stuck in stuff, and you have to know how to move them through that. So that kind of moved me along, and then I left organized religion, and I didn't know what I believed after that.
Wait a minute. Which organized religion?
I can't say. I'm not saying.
You're not going to say?
Not now, no.
Okay. Okay.
That'll be for another time.
All right.
Because, I was born and raised in organized religion, and when I left, it was like my whole world died. It's like I didn't know what I believed anymore. And then my dog died, and that was really hard. We had this dog. The dog was older than the kids. We'd had the dog longer than we did the kids. And when the dog died, I did not know what to believe. It's like, is there a dog heaven? Isn't there? Is there nothing there anymore? And I went through a really, really, I was just like flatlining for a while. And it was weird, because after our dog died, I heard scratching under the bed, because that's where she used to sleep. And sometimes she'd scratch and stuff. And I got out of bed and looked under the bed to see if, I was just in a dream or something. I don't know what was going on. There was no dog. And that happened for like 3 or 4 days, and I thought, what is going on? So things kind of developed in that, in that arena, trying to figure out about the unseen world. That just fascinated me, and I knew there was more than what religion was telling us. So then I started working, getting further out there without the confines of organized religion. I could start being as weird as I am. And that was real liberating, to be totally weird, and nobody cares. Well, maybe people care, but I didn't care if they cared. I didn't have anybody telling me how I could think and what I could think, and so that was so liberating.
Yeah. So these superpowers started to open up.
So
right?
then things...
You started to talk to dead people, right?
Well, yes, sort of. Not quite yet. The next thing that happened was back in the early 90s. You can see this rock. This is the Omorisite rock. And this was introduced to me. And then it's like quantum leaps happened. Like, I can't even explain the amazing shift that that happened after that. My psychic abilities started turning on more. Then things started to get serious, and that's when I started. It's like that. That's when the jaws of hell really came down. Now, they came down before when I was doing my healing clinic. I mean, financial tyranny was like the name of the game. But after I got the rocks, it's like I was stepping up my game. I found myself in the midst of like all these metaphysical circles, like the big names in metaphysics back in the 90s. I was rubbing shoulders with these people and finding out that some of them weren't what they were cracked up to be. Right before that, like maybe 2 or 3 years before that, I was telling you about Tesla. And I saw this book at the metaphysical store on Tesla, and I'm like, and I couldn't believe my reaction. And I'm like, I've never seen this guy. What the heck is this? And so I bought the book, and I'm just like blown away, and I don't know why. And on the way home from the store, I kept looking down at the book, and I'd see his face, and I'd burst into tears. And I'm like, what is this about? Why am I doing this? I don't understand this at all. And I get my composure, and then I sneak another peek and fall apart again. So I read the book, and then it was like I could not get enough of Tesla. And as I was reading about him, I was feeling this connection to Tesla that was like off the charts. And so I kept reading, and then things started reading and crying, right?
Yeah.
And then
so it's a powerful connection that was starting to open up.
It was, and then I started telepathically communicating with him.
Okay.
And then later I found out why. So I don't know if you want me to tell her why now, or should we talk about that later?
What do you
it's
think?
Up to you. I don't know. We'll leave that for later. Me and Tesla are like this, and I didn't know about that. And
yeah,
that doesn't mean I'm smart like him. I totally am not smart like him. But he is one of my spirit guides, and many of the first wave indigos have Tesla. And he has a brother, and it's pretty gnarly.
But let's find out about how Laura Lee went from being this very sweet, loving woman to being talking to these creator beings and navigating in and out of the matrix.
Okay, most of that education came from first-hand experience. I have rubbed shoulders with some of the nastiest, foulest. Well, if we're talking the D monster, that would be the number one foulest thing.
So even though we mentioned that in our introductory talk, and we don't like to say her name.
No, we don't say her name.
But we're also not scared to say her
We're
name.
not scared.
So her name,
yes,
Laura Lee,
was the D monster's name was Durerla.
And we've been calling her Queen Bitch.
Queen Bitch.
Or,
And that's being nice.
Yeah. So remind us of what this being is about, and then we can go on with the rest of your story. Just what we're really up against, whether we use this model or any other model. I think that you have a pretty down-home realistic idea of the level of distortion, corruption, and outright evil that has, in covert ways that most of us absolutely clueless about the magic that's holding this whole hologram together. And so we're trying to break that down because the truth is the only thing that's going to set us free. And this may have a piece of it. This may have a lot of it. So I'm just saying, check it out. I am. And I'm finding this really interesting.
So yeah, about her, just say her in a nutshell. She is the most, her gig was to corrupt everything and own it corrupted. That was her gig. So if there's something she didn't think she could corrupt it, oh man, she was like on their tail trying to corrupt it. Because in her mind, corruption means she wins.
Insatiable.
Yep.
Constant craving.
So
the evil beyond.
You can't even. There is no word to describe what she is.
Even your tales of the things that you've busted through, because it's been 15 years, 3 hours a night, busting through all of this and clearing a ton of it for all of humanity, which I am eternally grateful for. So you've had privy up close and personal to see the level of evil. And I mean, I know it's really hard to face, but I think one of the biggest booby traps out there is our innocence, that we can't even believe anything would be getting off on things that are this sick. So I think it's interesting information, because when we get that, it's a lot easier to track what's messing with us. If we can't even fathom that, we're sitting ducks.
If you think everything is love and light, and I used to be a Care Bear, okay? I did. I used to be a Care Bear, and I thought that anybody that was mean or evil was just a misguided Care Bear. You just give them a little love, and
all is forgiven. They all be free. They all be forgiven. They all be free. Which, of course, ultimately is true. But there's a few steps to get there.
Sort of, yeah.
Because you're not about just letting them have free reign anymore. You see, at some point, there's got to be somebody that takes these beings out.
Exactly. It's like, and that's what our job is. Us, some of the cosmic cleanup crew, the hologram rescue team, that's our job, because nobody else wants to do it. And these love and lighters that just want to think that everything's kumbaya, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but there's even very deep conspiracy talking heads everywhere that, we all want to take them. A lot of us are so done. Laura Lee, that's why I want to bring you on, because we don't know how. And I think you may very possibly have some really critical pieces, and that's why they've blocked you from being on the internet, and they've blocked your book, and they've made your life a big, brick wall, and you haven't given up. You haven't given up at all. And now you've cleared enough that here we are.
Here we are. That's major. Woohoo! That's a major
exactly. Which makes it a lot easier for you all to do the rest of the job.
That's right. We're called the wake breakers. We go in through first, and we cut a hole in there and make a wake so that everybody else can follow. And
our generations, that's what we've been about. We've been the shit clearers. I hope you appreciate this, for Christ's sake. It wasn't that fun. Why did I suffer? Okay, I'm done. So let's go on with you. So here you are, where? Your superpowers are starting to come on. You're starting to get things. You got this rock in your hand. We're going to go way down into the rock, because this is an incredible
The rock
tool.
is what changed my life. That's when everything started to shift. And I know that this rock, the Almora Site Stone of Truth and Justice.
Feel into that, peeps. Just take a gander.
It's out of this world. Literally, this rock is not from this planet, and it's not even from this universe. It is far, far away, and it was snuck in to this hologram to help us out. Snuck in so that at a certain time and place, it could come out and be of service. So it was dormant for thousands of years. And here it is. Here we've got it.
So we're going to talk about the rock.
Okay.
you stick with these videos, we're going to go way into this tour. But right now, I want them to hear about you and how you got from there to where you are now.
Well, okay, so the rock is part of it. The other thing, the spiritual aspect of the rock, and we'll have some other pictures here, is the Kryahgenetics
Bring that closer. Bring that way close. Let me hold that up for a second.
Okay. Kryahgenetics egg, and it can do more for you than you can even imagine. And we'll go into depth on how it's not only a protective protocol, but it goes into battle mode. There you go. It can go into battle mode and protect you and help you out in ways that are off the charts. And this little egg is the main reason my ghost book, my Got Ghost book, this Kryahgenetics book, and my Indigo book have been blackballed, and they have been blackballed to the max. Me and my Ghostbusters partner Ronnie did an entire show on all of the things that we got blackballed with, and it's just like, it's off the charts. You think, that couldn't happen.
Come on, tell us a little bit about this. I think that we need to honor, because you're still here, and most people that got this blackballed would so be done. They'd be retired watching soap operas.
Yeah. Well, many, many things. One thing is, we had like 7 or 8 boxes of books that were on their way to our distributor get lost. Not only did they get lost, but the post office sends these little tags back and said, the contents of this box is missing, but here's your here's your tag back that has your address.
And also coast to coast, right? I mean,
most people. Oh my gosh!
Most people who do coast to coast sell like 30,000 books.
Oh yeah.
It's just like a shoe-in.
When we were
so what happened when you were on Coast to Coast?
We're on freaking Art Bell,
and
right?
this is your Ghost Got Ghost. What's your book called?
Got Ghosts.
Her book is called Got Ghosts. Go and get it. It's awesome.
It's really fun. It's
funny. She's got this great sense of humor, and so does this crazy team. And so you're gonna laugh your sides off, pee your pants while you're getting your mind blown.
Exactly. Do that. So we were on Coast to Coast, and we sold a whopping 72 books. 72 books. And we're like, are you kidding?
Okay, but that was a good day. That was a huge victory.
A good day, yeah.
Because basically,
most of them we don't sell any, or we sell
get
one
returned. And you know how people love ghosts and ghosts. You're a Ghostbuster, right?
Oh yeah.
You and Ronnie became the ghost gals.
Yeah.
And literally have the capability to go in and egg and using the stone,
rocks,
using the egg. They're getting rid of these ghosts, but they're not just getting rid of them. What are they doing, Laura Lee? What are you doing with these ghosts?
We're spirit rescue, and some of the ghosts go to different places after they die, so you just don't send them to one place. Well, if you quarantine them in this egg, the egg is so cool. It's got its own data center, and it knows exactly where to take them. So you can just, say goodbye to them. And anybody that I've ever put in an egg, unless they were an ass soul, just felt relief, and their personality started coming back if they were in traps and stuff.
Because there are a lot of traps, from what I'm learning from you and many other teachers, but you are the trap mistress of traps. You are. See, I finally figured out who you are. She won't tell me what's her identity. We're working on it. But she's definitely the untrapster or something like that. And there are so many traps on the other side. We did a session where I freed my mother and my father. And these horrific traps that they'd been in since they died. And I'm fairly psychic myself, and I also work with the deceased and conduct them. And
she did really good, by the way. Her first ghost busting was awesome.
The thing is, I thought they were gone, And they were both trapped. My mother was trapped in this hellish zone. She was so grateful that we had a horrible relationship. She always said, why didn't you ever give me anything your whole life? So finally, I got to give my mother something. I released her from this soul trap after 15 years now of being in that kind of hell. And we think you die and you go to heaven. Is that true, Laura Lee? Do we all die and go to heaven or hell or what the heck?
That's a fairy tale. That is such a fairy tale.
Which is going to be other videos. We got to diagram what.
That's a fairy tale.
But the thing is, if you have a way of navigating to wherever you want to go, I mean, that's got my attention, y'all. I don't know about you. So, and this is why your book's blocked, right? Because this stuff's really works.
I have never seen the egg not be able to help somebody and take them where they need to go. And we even busted the World Trade Center. That's another story for a later time.
Okay, yes,
there was a net around the World Trade Center, and it was keeping those ghosts from leaving. And it was recycling their pain and suffering and their death over and over and over again. And the way we got them out, through that net was with this egg. We put all of the ghosts in an egg, and some of them, there was like 5 or 6 to an egg because we had to hurry. And that's how we got them through. And the interesting thing is the very last ones to leave, and we were so... taken back by this, and it just made us cry. It was some of the first responders were the last ones to leave, and we saw them helping the other one into the egg, and when everybody was out and they were all in the egg, then the egg left. It was amazing, and it made us cry. It was super. And I know that other people saw that net. I've heard of other psychics that said they saw that net, but they couldn't do anything about it. It was so high-tech and impenetrable, but not for this guy. So now you can understand why my work, the eggs, and the rocks have been blackballed, because they work, and they weren't good.